What is up, guys? It is the Bluebloods here early on your Sunday morning. Listen, we're going to have a live stream tonight recapping the NFL draft for all the FCS players. I'd even talk about some of the P5 players, what teams did the best, get your opinion on the call lines. So make sure to tune in tonight, 7 p.m. Central Time, right here on the Blue Bloods. Well, we got some breaking news, man. As of this morning, FAMU defensive end Isaiah Land has entered his name into the transfer portal and is possibly looking for a new home in the college football world. And there's been a lot of speculation whether this is true, whether this is not. Well, the first people to break it was Rivals. They announced that he entered their transfer portal, and then on three, Matt Zenitz also confirmed it. And 247 is going to be shortly behind, and HBCU game day as well. It is Isaiah Landon's in the transfer portal. And whether he stays or not is another question. But for right now, he's possibly seeing what his value is in the transfer portal, and he could always take his name out at a later date. But this is a giant loss for FAMU. I mean, an absolutely giant loss. You look at what Isaiah Land did last year, man, and he had one of the more dominant seasons in the FCS as he had 25 and a half tackles for loss, led the entire nation, 19 sacks, led the entire nation, and also had three forced fumbles, two pass breakups, one fumble recovery, was a four-time box row player of the week, one after a three sack performance against Alabama State, was the SWAC defensive player of the week after his performance against South Carolina State with five sacks. Also was the SWAC defensive player of the year and a consensus first team All American at the linebacker spot since he played edge. So Isaiah Land had one of the most dominant seasons that I think many people in the FCS have seen from a defensive end, man. He absolutely put on a show. But now you're looking at FAMU. Where do you go from here? You lost Savion already. You lost some depth at the edge spot already to graduation. You brought in a JUCO transfer. Gentle Hunt returns to man the inside of your defensive line. But where do you go at the edge position now? Who do you have that's going to replace what Isaiah Land brings to your defense? And this is a huge loss for Willie Simmons. And for FAMU, I've always given them credit because FAMU actually has lost the least amount of transfers for any other SWAC school, man. They don't lose transfers. At a very high rate at all. And now they lose arguably their best player on the defensive side of the ball after already having Antoine Collier, Marquise Bell, take their talents to the NFL draft. But a lot of people are asking what caused this decision by Landon, even though I can't really speculate on the exact reason. There are a lot of people out here saying that it was because Marquise Bell didn't get drafted. Now, I mean, I'm sure that played a little bit of a role in it, but for me, you look at the age of NIL in the transfer portal, and this is where I need all the fans here who might be upset, anything, just to remember that college football is a business. And you see all the time with Jordan Addison over at Pittsburgh, who was one of the top wide receivers in the country last year for Kenny Pickett, potentially entering the transfer portal at USC because he got a massive NIL deal offer. You saw the kid in Miami say NIL is important. If I don't get a raise, I'm going to transfer. And maybe Isaiah Land just found out that he has some major interest. Someone made an offer that he couldn't refuse, and now he's in the transfer portal to see what he can get. And that's fine, man. I'm just hoping Isaiah Land makes the best decision for himself, his future. But I know a lot of people on Twitter and Instagram this morning were really, really upset when they heard this news. But man, these kids only got 4, maybe 5 years to put on and get a have a better future. So for me, I think Isaiah Land is just out here trying to make the best decision for himself. And I want a lot of fans to remember that because I saw a lot of very, very angry fans. Um, on social media today, but also Deion Sanders also responded today, man. And you look at what he put. This was on Light on Sports, who was one of the other people to break the news. He got a lot of hate, but Deion Sanders commented, "This is flat out wrong. You go in the portal because you don't think you can go pro from an HBCU. Well, a few went yesterday and over 20 from FCS schools. Be the change that we all desire. Don't run from the challenge. Willie Simmons is a great coach and does an amazing job with exposing his kids and preparing them. I pray he changes his mind and goes back to FAMU because ain't no sure thing you're going to get the reps, exposure, recognition somewhere else. Just because it looks green doesn't mean it's grass." And you know, for me, like I understand where Coach Prom is coming from in terms of he's trying to bring awareness to staying at a HBCU, staying at a FCS school, and building up and being able to be drafted and put on. But for me, man, if Willie Simmons and Isaiah Land and anyone has even made a statement about it, man, I personally don't think I don't necessarily agree with him, man. He's got to do what's best for him, just like Dalen Baldwin had to do what was best for him, just like all the transfers that have come into FAMU and into Jackson State had to do what was best for them. So to kind of put Isaiah Land on the spot for me is not a great look for him. I think you got to let these kids do what's best for them, man. And you don't. If he wants to go into the transfer portal and find out where he can land, find out what he can get, what schemes he can fit in, what schools want him, and et cetera. I think Isaiah Land has every right to do that. And so for me, Isaiah Land is doing what is best for him, but this is still something that I think FAMU is going to have to address in the offseason, whether it's the transfer portal, whether it's trying to develop somebody in-house. But Isaiah Land is in the transfer portal, and head coach Willie Simmons and FAMU were on the clock to try to find a way to replace him. And just so you guys know, Isaiah Land can withdraw his name at any time. There's no timetable. He might just trying to gauge what interest he has, and then he could end up coming back to FAMU. So also remember that. But for right now, man, Isaiah Land, 2021 Buck Buchanan Award winner, is on his way out of FAMU and is officially in the transfer portal. But comment below where you think Isaiah Land will eventually land out of the transfer portal. What could be the best fits? What are your opinions on his decision to look elsewhere and possibly find a new home in college football, man? Comment all that below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. But until next time, guys, the Blue Bloods are out.